Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Stage Sentient, and today we have for you our actual top 5 tech characters. And what's very important to know is that we have some characters that have really changed the game in tech in January. December, in our last video, we really were thinking about characters that could we really bring together, because it's kind of like a weird situation of like bringing in a bunch of characters to throw into a volcano and say, hey, let's work. But that recipe sometimes works and it doesn't sometimes either. So one thing that we have to note is the newest impact in the game is TChalla. And has he made that top 5, tune as a tech character? And has Misty Knight made that list? Has Lady Deathstrike made that list as well? So let's go over it. Top 5 tech characters. In our top 5 tech characters, we obviously are starting out with probably the most utilized character all across the game, and probably one of the best characters in the game still, and that's Kestrel at number 1. I believe we probably had Kestrel maybe, number 2 because of Doom. But yeah, we do have to realize that if most people don't have Doom, and most people do have Kestrel, so that's why Kestrel really is a solid number 1 now, especially at this year in January. She's all over the place. She makes everything much better. She's just a fantastic character. Where she's landing defense down, she's pinging, enemies out of the node. So you're getting faster reactions or you're getting faster reactions and usage out of that character. Number 2, we have Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom, obviously a very important character. Using him in this is a very, very, very important node to use him in, because Dr. Doom has a lot of utility here, bringing out the bots. I don't blow up the bots until maybe later in the node, because the bots actually do help bring together the rest of the tech characters in the group. One thing that's very important also is that, all those bots, when they drop, if you have TChalla, TChalla can pick up all those buffs. Anybody around him adjacent. So that's really important. If you can keep those bots up, that's a big boost. So, they get defense up, they get that speed up, they get the offense up. TChalla is swole at that point. So that's why he's number 2. He's obviously, without a doubt, number 2, because he's definitely helping out that tech lane right there. Number 3, we have Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus now is securing a lot of things here, but he's kind of falling off. We're seeing some things happen in the tech lane where Doc Ock's special really is not being used anymore. We really want to use that ability, but it's hard to use it because there's so many things that are happening with the heal blocks. So it's kind of like a disinterest to use it. So really you're trying to either use that basic, where the basic is not dodgeable and applies slow, and you also have the ultimate where it extends those abilities against the enemy. So really you're only using 2 abilities, so it kind of takes them out of the equation there, where you're like, Doc Ock, like, I need to use your special, but you can't. And you want to bring out Shocker, but then you can't either, because, you have bots on the floor, or you have, Shocker dies too early and you're not able to charge, Doc Ock. So you're having some issues there, but he's still a top 3 character that you got to have him there, because the adjacents, really do help with keeping Shuri or keeping Doom higher with those deflects on his adjacents there. So number 4 is our brand new character, and that's TChalla. TChalla is making a big impact in tech. If you've seen the videos before, it's been really crazy to watch how TChalla interacts with the team. The biggest takeaway about TChalla is this: the future of his ability coming into the game will change the way that we use him when he's on the enemy's side, because it's going to make a difference. When we see him on an enemy side, it's going to be kind of scary, right? It's going to be kind of scary. So TChalla's new ability is going to make an impact later, but he's also making an immediate impact as a usable player right now. T'Challa's picking up the buffs. I mean, I don't know which is better really right now, is to use the special or his ult, because the ult is keeping not only him alive, but it's also like kind of boosting some of the effects of what's going on as he kills other, tunes on that side. Then we have T'Challa's special, where you have T'Challa, using, ability energy to stall enemies from using their abilities, like Cloak, or like Bishop, or like Surfer, or whomever you choose to take out those characters. There's quite a bit that T'Challa does by stalling out and changing up the turn order of their abilities. So that is just, and if you don't have him, here comes our next character at 5, Shuri. I know a lot of people are, questioning Shuri. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Shuri's too small on her stats. But you know what? Even small on her stats, on that defense up immediately on that first turn, she's helping that team out. That's really her goal. Her goal really is to have that defense up and then give ability energy to either Doom, hopefully the first, mostly, and then you have anybody else. And that right there still makes her viable. And that makes it a situation where you're like, wow, she really does make a difference. Whereas there's almost too many opportunities as the other characters that are available in your tech roster that might not feel as coagulated to the team. You have Minerva and Nebula, invested in long term. People are like, I want to use Minerva or Nebula. The problem is that those two characters give, extra boost to extra boost to Surfer. And you don't want that. It's much, when they're not on the field, Surfer is much easier to kill with Nebula and Minerva off the board. People are using Ghost. The problem is using Ghost is that, again, you're hoping on an opportunity that she dodges in order to keep her alive, and that's not what you want to do. Lady Deathstrike, I know a lot of people like her. She's performing well and things like that, but the biggest problem is that she is reliant on putting things down as a defense down or a bleed and things like that. To make her work, you got to have that. And really, Shuri is taking that spot, is that you don't need you don't want an opportunity. You want to make sure that things are working in your favor. So that's why we have these characters at our top 5. I mean, we do have, somewhat of a, honorable mention. We have, LDS, we have Misty Knight, as our characters here. Stitcher is also a possibility if you're really into Ravagers. I know it's a war team. I know Misty's a war character as well, and so is LDS. But, people are using LDS in there for, many different reasons, evade and death proof and whatnot. But the top 5 are definitely making a difference and better right now to this tech lane in Doom. And I'm in Doom raids. I'm doing Doom 2.1. So really this is making everything much better for me having T'Challa. And before, when I wasn't using T'Challa, I was using Nebula, and it was a lot harder, and I was trying out Ghost. It was a lot harder. I'm not going to invest too much into Ultron because there's a lot of tech gear, and all that tech gear, I can't bring up anybody else, Misty Knight or Stitcher or, LDS, so that kind of creates like a bit of a situation there, We're looking for the best opportune characters to make you go through so you don't feel like you're struggling or you're trying to make yourself find a way that you're going to keep prolonging to invest in characters for another few months to say, hey, I'm waiting for a tech team. It's only going to hurt you in the long run if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, because those characters, you're going to look back and like, oh, I guess that character was good. Oh, well, maybe this character, was bad. So what's important is to try to stay along with what's happening. Now, everything is roster dependent, but if you keep banging your head or you're throwing your phone or you're, playing a BlueStacks and you're like, I quit, if you're rage quitting, it's not going to be fun for you. A tech team isn't clearly coming soon because, especially with this next patch, you have T'Challa. It's a great situation. You know, the top 5 characters that we just talked about are doing the job well, and they're not underperforming. They're making things work, and they're making the team a lot more systematic and a lot more, you know, what's the word? Simplified, without having to rely on opportunities saying, I'm just going to wait for a tech team. Don't wait for a tech team. Don't wait for characters, because once you start waiting for characters, you're going to be behind, and you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. The next patch clearly is in tech. What happens in March? You can't wait on what ifs. You know, your roster's constantly growing. Your team is constantly moving. So try and make the best work out of it. All right? Top 5 characters as we end this video here are Kestrel at number 1, Dr. Doom number 2, and if you don't have number 2 or you don't have Doc Ock up there, it's fine. You just bump those characters up. Dr. Doom number 3, Dr. Octopus number 3. Then we have Star-Lord TChalla at 4. Brand new character. Hopefully you guys get him and check him out. Shuri at number 5. They're great. They're great. Make it work for you. Make it work for you. Find that kill order. Find where these characters are going to do the work for you instead of you trying to, you know, struggle and, you know, using those raid refreshes. That isn't fun. All right, guys, this is Sage Sentient. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Tune into these YouTube, like and subscribe, and also find me on all socials, Sage Sentient, and you guys can always come and find me here on Twitch anytime. Anytime. I'm usually streaming. You know, make sure to come and check out Blitz N DJ, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Woo! Let's go!